Welcome back to the Four Pillar Podcast. We stand for faith, family, fitness, and finance in that order, baby. And today, welcome to the new episode. And today, the title of the episode is Called but Unqualified. Have you ever been felt that you've been called to do something and maybe you felt really moved that you should do that, but you feel totally unqualified to do that said action or thing or whatever it is in your life that you feel like you're being called to do that you feel unqualified to do? Have you ever felt like that?
I sure have. Becoming a mom, I think that was a big one.
Yeah, I think when just becoming parents in general is a big one, is because when you plan to have kids or if you have a kid, it happens pretty rapidly or pretty fast, and it literally changes your life overnight or the day you have the child, but pretty drastically. And I think pretty much everybody that's had a child has experienced that or understands that. And if you haven't, you will when you have a child.
What about you? I know you've felt like that a few times in your life when you're about to do something huge. Any come to mind?
Well, I would say one of the big ones was when, like you said, becoming parents. I think that is a big one as well. That hits you pretty hard. The other one would be, I guess, were you referring to something that you had in mind?
Growing the business, hiring employees, stuff like that.
Yeah, so I was going to say the business thing can be a little bit tricky as well, too, if you want to start your own side hustle or if you want to start your own business or whatever that thing is, that you can feel it can be pretty overwhelming and obviously scary when you first start that. And depending on what you did to get there or whatever you want to do that, you may not have a lot of, per se, skills or actual experience of doing that. So you can be very passionate for something and want to do something, but not necessarily know how to do it per se, or kind of feel unqualified for it, which I think is potentially a mistake people make is they feel like they're always unqualified to do something, or they don't have enough confidence or belief in themselves to just want to do it when, excuse me, when you really should just do it.
Yep. I completely agree. Have you heard of the term imposter syndrome?
Yes.
So that came to mind as we were kind of talking about this topic. And I think a lot of people have that because, like, us owning a gym, you can think of so many big gyms that are all over the world. And it's like, I don't know if I can even get close to that. But that shouldn't be the goal in your head. It should be, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to pray. I'm going to work hard. I'm going to put my head down and go. And I think the whole imposter syndrome, like, well, who am I to do this? And a lack of confidence, really.
Yeah. And I think it can be a big mistake as well, too, because people, I think, get too caught up in things like that. For example, when you say unqualified, well, how unqualified are you to do what? And what are you talking about? Really, if you have the skills and the capability that can improve someone else's life or whatever thing that you have, if you can do that, then I would say you're qualified to do it, especially if you know how to do it and you can do it with somebody. Mm-hmm. One of the biggest things I listened to was I was reading the last book I was reading was it was a Russell Brunson book, and he was talking about he's friends with Tony Robbins, which Tony Robbins is a big motivational speaker, and he has a whole bunch of stuff, business advice, investing, all the stuff, right? So he was talking about Tony Robbins went to, I forget what the course was called, but he went to basically a course to help people quit smoking and drinking and using tobacco and drugs and all that good stuff. And so, well, basically it was an addiction. Mainly, I think it was for smoking cigarettes was the main focus of it, but it was basically like an addiction summit, where you gained a certification to be a coach to coach somebody to stop from smoking cigarettes. Okay. And he said, like Tony Robbins, like sat through, it was like a 4-week course or something like that. He sat through the first 4 courses, like read the whole entire book, and he said he understood and knew how to do it. So he just started doing it. And he wasn't even certified yet. And people like are always caught up on a certification. I have to have this degree, or I have to have this thing that qualifies you. And I think what really qualifies somebody is your ability to create results with somebody. That's a qualification by success and by proof. And I think that's very valid as well, too, because you can create a lot of results and success and help people without certifications and a bunch of stuff. Now, some things are appropriate to get those, but I think people take it way too serious, or they just lack the confidence and the belief to do that. And if you're one of those people and you're listening to this, you should just do something. If you have knowledge and skills and the ability to do it, then do it and have success with it. And you still want a certification or an education, you can still go do that, but don't let that hold you back. And he went on to say the rest of the story, like Tony Robbins, he actually got kicked out of the certification program because he was practicing uncertified, and he still does it to this day. I think he still coaches people with like quitting smoking.
Yeah.
And because he gained the skills and he said he knew how to do it. And he said Russell Brunson claimed that he like went over to a bar and like just literally like helped somebody stop smoking or something or whatever. And but then he got kicked out of the course. But he said I gained the knowledge and the ability to do it, so I just started doing it.
Yeah.
He's like and it worked. So and to me, I'm certified to help people.
I think there could be some gray area. I think it depends on what kind of certification, which I know you said that too. Like, I'm not gonna go to a doctor that's uncertified.
Well,
But-
right. Yeah, I mean, I understand. Like, you're not going to go to a heart surgeon that's a self-taught heart surgeon. Like, that's not a real thing.
Right.
But there's a lot of other avenues and fields and
Yes. Yeah.
and things that you can do to help people, serve people, make their lives better, that we can get caught up on not having per se qualifications to do that. And I think
Absolutely.
you have way more ability than what you believe you do.
Yeah. I also think adding to that too, but part of what we're saying is you just have to start something, but that doesn't negate continued education and trying to constantly learn about whatever craft you're doing. Because I feel like sometimes people will start it and then they don't have that the education behind it, like constantly learning stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. You should always have continued education.
Yeah.
Regardless of what your thing is that you're doing. If you don't continue to grow, you're going to continue to recede. So you have to go and get educated, and you have to continue to grow your knowledge. I don't even like to say education, your knowledge on the field or the thing that you're doing, to make sure you're growing yourself to stay on top of the things. But I mean, to some extent too, it just depends on. Once again, it depends on your field. Like, if you want to start a landscaping business, go start a landscaping business. Maybe you just, for an example, I'll use this as an example. I assume most people, you probably cut your own grass, don't you?
My husband does.
Well, yeah. Well, I understand that.
Yeah, we cut our own grass.
We cut our own grass, right?
Yes.
So if you cut your own grass, you know how to, if you push mow it, you're on a riding lawnmower or whatever, you have the ability and the knowledge of know how to cut your grass, right? And probably maintain your mower, all the basic fundamentals, right? And let's say for a long time, whatever, you want to start a landscaping business. I don't think you need to go get a special certification to learn how to cut grass. If you see where I'm going with this, like you have the knowledge and the ability to do it. Go cut. If you want to start a landscaping business, go cut grass. Start a landscaping business. Start cutting grass. Now I understand there's proper ways to maybe edge a sidewalk with a weed whacker or other stuff like that. But I mean, that stuff can be self-taught or through a mentorship or something else. I mean, but you're capable and have the ability to do a lot of things if you have the knowledge to do it. And a lot of people too learn a lot of like traits or ability or skills from the parents or grandparents or whatever. And so like you may have helped your grandparents all through high school or whatever, like weed whack, mow grass, with all this stuff. And so you may have been taught by somebody how to like edge grass, like do all the basic things to maintain a yard. You have the ability, the knowledge, and the capability to do that. And if you want to start a landscaping business cutting grass, go do it. You don't need to have like a special certification or all that. And I think that's a good example of a lot of people with businesses or side hustles where they say like, I'm unqualified because I don't have the experience or the business, or I never worked in that business before, and all this other essentially excuses that you want to make to not doing it. But you have the ability and the knowledge to do it, and you have the right where you could go serve people and do that for them.
I think you hit the nail on the head with the experience part, because a lot of these professions or side hustles or whatever you want to do, it's more experience than anything else. So you have to start to get experience.
Right. And that's the biggest thing when you start your own business or something you're looking at, you feel like you're unqualified to do. Regardless of what you do, it's just building up experience. And I think this is kind of the hard part too, is people, like, you always want to do things perfect and the best of your ability, and you should always do that. I mean, well, perfection is not possible, but doing things to the best of your ability. And unfortunately, that's just part of life, right? If regardless of, even if you are certified or whatever you define as being qualified, you're still going to make a mistake or mess something up, because you can be super qualified with no experience and still do a bad job. And same thing, you can be not qualified or have experience or vice versa, and you could still do a very bad job.
Yeah.
So that's the big mental mound of doing your own business, your own side hustle, your own thing, is getting over that fear of not making mistakes and dealing with them and all that stuff and the perfection thing. You have to go gain experience and do it. Mm-hmm. And the world's not so tiny that it's like, if I mess up this one person's yard, that for an example, or whatever, it's going to ruin me for the rest of my life.
Right.
I can tell you right now, so I've been in the gym now for about 9 years, and in 2016, I think I did the math right, whatever, if I messed it up, but roughly about 9 years. In 2016, when I first took over and I had to start doing all the things, right, you do in a business, which includes a lot of customer service, I guarantee you right now my customer service skills are 10 times better than they were 9 years ago when I first started, when I was 20 years old.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I can actually remember some of the things where like I was just super nervous and like I did not handle that well. And that was 9 years ago. We're still in business. It didn't ruin my entire life and my entire business. You make mistakes and you learn from it. And not everybody, like most people are pretty gracious depending on what it is as well too. And that's a whole nother topic of, at some point too, you can't let other people think about you control how you operate your life and your business. And if you do, you're setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah.
Regardless of what someone else thinks about you, tell them to go fly a kite and do your thing. Because if you let that govern your life and what you're doing, you're setting yourself up for failure and unreasonable expectations. And I'm not saying people can't give you valid feedback on things, but most people's opinions can be kind of garbage. I don't mean to be blunt about that, but that's just my opinion on it, my experience.
I'm just going to reword what you just said a little bit.
Sure.
I think having good mentors, especially in an area where you want to succeed in, is where you should get most of your opinions from.
Yes. Yeah, let me reword that as well, too. Yes. I still think most people's opinions are garbage. But the thing is, what I mean by that is you have people in your life, everybody does, that you respect, and you would listen to their feedback. And those are the people that you should listen to when they give you feedback on something. Well, one, the people you respect that actually have your best interest, and the people that are more successful than you.
Yeah.
And you will find somebody that's more successful than you, that wants to see you succeed, that will give you honest feedback about things. And those are the people that you should listen to.
Yes.
You go cut, I'm just using this as an example, like the landscaping business. You go cut someone's grass, and they tell you this is the worst yard they've ever seen cut, blah, 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 blah. And you did that thing to the best of your ability, or whatever. Mm-hmm. Tell them to go fly a kite.
Don't tell them to go fly a kite. Say,
Well,
have a good day and never
yes.
cut their
Sorry.
grass again.
Yes. But when I say fly a kite, I should tell like
Yeah.
their feedback that they gave you.
Right.
Tell that to go fly a kite.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
move on with your life, and don't let it affect your outlook of what you're doing. The part that you should is because you'll have just a bunch of people will try to give you feedback or tell you things, but if they're not more successful than you, or they don't truly value and want you to be successful, you shouldn't listen to them. It doesn't matter who they are. Don't listen to them.
And success doesn't always mean monetary either.
No, it doesn't have correct. It doesn't have to be monetary. When you say successful, it could be successful through better experience. Mm-hmm. It could be successful through physically, mentally, or spiritually. Mm-hmm. Success is in someone's is deeper into the Bible and their faith than you, or just has more experience there, or has more knowledge than you in those things. But by having all those different characteristics in somebody, you'll gain respect, and that person has validation to give you feedback. As we're just like I said, a bad customer or other people or even a friend. See, that's where it can get tricky too, because even some friends,
right,
they need to go fly a kite when they tell you something.
Their advice needs to.
Yes, correct. Well, even your friend might need to go fly a kite because I think it's 100% they need to sometimes, because you have to surround yourself with people that are like you in the phase of whatever you're doing. Like if you're trying to be a better person, a better human being, and you want to grow physically, mentally, and spiritually, and you're moving to an objective or an obstacle, like I want to have a family, I want to be in better shape, I want to be a better spiritual leader, a spiritual role model, and your friend is none of those, or not one of those, or not trying to grow themselves in one of those pillars or things or goals in their lives, then that person you probably don't need to have in your life. And that is a hard thing to deal with, is cutting people out of your life that aren't filling you up and lifting you up and giving you actual positive, or not even positive, but actual realistic feedback to help you become a better person. And that's what you should give to other people as well too in your life.
Yeah, and it's not that you have to cut them out, but
sometimes you should.
Well, it depends on their actions.
Correct.
You're either going to influence them or they are going to influence you. And you have to make that distinction of what is happening with that relationship and evaluate it that way. Because
yes.
I don't think you should cut everybody out of your life, even if they're...
You might need to.
Not as successful or whatever that success means in this scenario, marriage, business, etc.
You might need to.
You might need to. I'm not saying it's a blanket statement.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
I'm gonna have to disagree on some of what you said there, because
that's fine.
I think as long as you can make a distinguish of, like I said, you're influencing them or they're influencing you, and
right.
I don't think there's much gray in that.
Oh, that can be pretty black and white, or what the individual wants to accomplish,
yes.
or what they stand for, or their moral compass, and what their real objective of life is. Mm-hmm. That's pretty black and white, and sometimes that can be, well, from the outside looking in, it can be very black and white.
Right.
And sometimes it's good to not have those people included into your life, and you can still be acquaintance with people.
Yeah.
And they don't need to be your friends. They can be acquaintances. And I've even have like people in my life too that are more acquaintances mm-hmm. because of just circumstances or whatever. It's like, I'm not necessarily they're bad people or whatever. You know, I'll still go get lunch with them and
yeah.
be acquaintances with them, but maybe 100% of what they're doing on a daily basis isn't lining up with like where I'm trying to go. I'm trying to steer my ship too, so I don't need to have them on my boat.
When you can care about somebody and not let them influence your decisions in life.
Right. 100% as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, did you have anything else?
No, I think that was good. Short and sweet.
Well, I didn't know about what we were just talking about.
Oh, no. I think we got on a little bit of a rabbit trail, but no, there's nothing else.
Yeah. Well, I guess with that being, I said, wrapping up, like talking about being qualified or unqualified, I think the thing you have to do is, one, you have to overcome, like you need to overcome that imposter syndrome. That can be can be very very tricky, and you build confidence by success and by. So I guess, yeah, just technically, just keep the definition simple. You build confidence by success. So the more things you do that are successful, or if you tell yourself you're going to do something, you do it, you can build success, you can build confidence within yourself. And that's the biggest thing is have confidence, affirm yourself. And if you have something that you want to do, you're just going to have to do it. I was talking to someone else about this, about potentially maybe starting their own business. They asked, like, what's the advice that you would have? And I kind of said a couple things. I was like, well, basically try to gain as much knowledge as you can, continue to learn in that field, and set up a plan, but like don't get too caught up in the plan, and learn how to sell stuff, and get comfortable with asking people for money, because unfortunately that's what happens when you start a business or a side hustle, and you have to change your perspective on that. Because you're providing help, a service, and serving somebody, and you're just asking for monetary exchange for that service or product or whatever is going on that's going to improve their life, and it's valid to ask that person for money to do that, and that's what business is solving someone's problem or fixing their pain and helping that individual because your experience, your knowledge, your whatever you have that's more than that person. And then the last two things are just do it. And so what I mean by that sometimes you just have to say, like, I'm going to do it, and you just have to do it and believe in yourself, and then ultimately have faith, and you pray about it, do all that stuff as well too. Like pray to God, ask him for strength and faith, and have faith that it's going to work out, because God put us on earth. He put us on earth and blessed us with ability and time in our lives to ultimately to serve him and glorify him. But I think also when we're blessed with air in our lungs, when we're blessed with the ability to live on a daily basis, he's given us the right to do the best we can with the time we've been given to do our side hustle, our job, or whatever we're doing, our family, to put our best foot forward and our best effort forward and try to live an extraordinary life, because he's blessed us with the time and the ability and the capability to do those things. And I think it can be honoring him by trying to go above and beyond to do something exceptional that maybe other people don't want to do.
Yeah. That's good stuff.
And you're only going to do it if you just do it. I know it sounds hard. It's way easier said than done, but that's ultimately one way how you beat feeling called but unqualified is make a pros and cons list. It's not as bad as what you think it is. Have a plan and do it.
Yep.
And you'll never regret it. Mm-hmm. And worst thing that could happen is it might not work out, and it's probably not that big of a deal, even if it doesn't. But
right. Yeah.
But you just have to do it, and don't let the fear and regret hold you back.
Mm-hmm. That's good. I like it.
If you believe it, you can achieve it. And we'll see you in the gym soon. Let us know if you have any questions. Please give us a review, and we hope you have a blessed week this week, rest of your week.